Formally open this second World Congress against sexual exploitation of women and girls. And I will give the floor to the keynote panel. And we will start with Sarah Benson, with the chair of CAP International, the Coalition for the Abolition of Prostitution, and also the CEO of Ruhama. Thank you very much.
Dear members, dear survivors, parliamentarians, union representatives, and all of our participants, including you, who are going to engage with us for these 2 days. You're very welcome to the second World Congress, International World Congress of CAP International, organized this year in India with our partner and member, Apne Aap. For those of you who are not familiar, CAP International is a young and growing organization with currently 19 members from 16 different countries. All our members are directly involved in working on the issue of prostitution, and we operate on the front line in many European countries, in North, South, Central America, in India, South Africa, and in Lebanon. And today we're represented in Delhi by colleagues from Apne Aap India, from Embrace Dignity in South Africa, from Fondation Cell in France, from Marta in Latvia, La Clé in Canada, Women at the Well from the United Kingdom, Mouvement du Nid, France, Crux and Redden from Denmark, Initiative Ciudadanana, my Spanish is poor, Colombia, Solvodi in Germany, and Comisión Unidos contra Trata from Mexico. So in the course of the 2 days, if you meet any members of CAP, I would certainly encourage you just to reach out and engage with us. We're also here to meet and engage with other organizations and individuals who are working on this issue in solidarity all across the world. My own organization, Ruhama, supports women in Ireland. So we work with women who are actively engaged in prostitution, we work with women who are seeking to exit, and we also work with victims of sex trafficking. So collectively, CAP engages with thousands of women, children, and men who are involved in prostitution every year, on the streets, in brothels, in clubs, in massage parlors. And we're here today with and in solidarity with survivor activists and with our other colleagues, because we just can't deny what we see and what we learn and what we know about prostitution and its impacts. While we operate in different countries, very clear and common themes do emerge, and they're very universal themes, we find. Different country, same situation. The background and profile and circumstances of most of those who find themselves in prostitution. The circumstances which draw or drag them into the sex trade. The tactics of sex trade organizers, of pimps and traffickers. The patriarchy, the racism, the gender, the economic and other structural frameworks that are informing and sustaining a thriving global sex trade. So as frontline NGOs, we also compare the different policy and legal contexts that we all operate in and their various impacts on the most vulnerable and the most at risk. This second World Congress is designed to open up the conversation here about prostitution, and it's a conversation that we all need to have. We want to create a space here to unpack and give voice to the hard reality of prostitution on those involved, certainly, but we also want to go further than this, beyond a focus exclusively on the individual, which is really important, but we really do need to go further. We need to look at the context of prostitution, the systems and the structures that create and maintain it, and we want to ask, why is this the case? We live in a very dynamic world, so we also ask, can't we do better? Can we do more to reduce the risk and the harm? Can we do more to meaningfully increase the opportunities and outcomes for those who are most vulnerable to prostitution? Not just those women and girls who my organization and all of the CAP members meet every day, but also those whose future prostitution might be prevented. When we look at policies and laws, we must consider who actually benefits the most, and who gets left behind. We're here today to focus on the last girl, who could, depending on fate, luck, or circumstance, be any one of us. We've worked very hard and with a very, very minimal budget to bring survivors and leaders of indigenous communities, Dalit and low caste movements together today. And it takes such courage to stand up and speak about one's own life as an activist. At our powerful pre-session yesterday, which I know many of you were attended, I was really struck and reminded of this by the words of Shani Roy, who spoke really movingly about just how hard it is to stand up and feel sometimes very alone as a survivor, calling for the need to prevent violence and the harm to which she was subjected happening to other girls. And today, very beautifully, we've just marked the passing of Mahatma Gandhi, who stood up for the rights of the most disenfranchised and marginalized, and who died for this. And we also heard last night from Fatima Khatun, who is an Indian survivor and activist from the Nat community, and who has been threatened with death from pimps and traffickers for challenging them and their status quo. And I've also met other women from many different countries who have been threatened, beaten, attacked, and raped as punishment for speaking out. So I'm asking you to join us today in solidarity to engage with this conversation, which may be difficult and uncomfortable at moments, but which is so important if we're to achieve a positive change for the last girl. So let's commit to a productive and open 2 days together. I hope that you will find all the sessions stimulating and thought-provoking, and that you'll leave the Congress tomorrow with new, or indeed reaffirmed, energy, ideas, and motivation to take action. This could be to work in solidarity to end the exploitation of the most vulnerable. And so this could be an action you could take into your own work, or simply as an individual to bring this conversation outside these four walls, to bring it to your friends, to your family, and to other people who can also help to create positive change. Because after all, to quote Mahatma Gandhi, we must be the change that we want to see. So before I hand over to Tinku Khanna, I also want to take this opportunity to warmly thank Apne Aap, who very generously offered to host this Second World Congress with Camp International. You're going to have to clap again in a moment, because most importantly, I would really like to thank the Apne Aap organizing team, especially Tinku herself, Johnita, Kushbu, Nana, Jasneet, and all of the fantastic colleagues and the wonderful volunteers who you see just running everywhere today. And they've worked tirelessly with CAP's Executive Director, Grégoire Théry, and our Communications Officer, Zala, whom I also want to sincerely thank for making this Congress a reality. So I commend Tinku to you, and I look forward to engaging with you all in these 2 days. Thank you.
So friends in the house, thank you for making it. Welcome to the first plenary session. I, on behalf of Apne Aap, extend a warm welcome to you. And there are a couple of unique dimensions to this Congress which I wanted to mention. There has been, it's a non-funded Congress, totally non-funded Congress. So it's only friends and the family of choice who have supported. There are people flying from all over the world who came here on their own. So I mentioned this especially because, you know, we have been talking about the onslaught of market, which creates the demand for sex trafficking. So to show that, you know, to stand in solidarity with the last girl, you need not have to have a funded agenda. It can be sheer voluntarism, will, and determination that can make it a success. There have been some inadvertent sleeps on our part, because you can see that there have been a lot of delays in flights, and then visa issues. So there has been a lot of issues. So if there have been any inadvertent mistakes, I apologize on behalf of Apne Aap. And I thank the Apne Aap team and CAP international team, especially Grégoire and Zala. We have worked for this Congress for the last 1 year, minute by minute. Every details we try to work out, see that we can ease out all possible hiccups. So if anything still remains, I'm again apologizing. Thank you. So with that, we will proceed to the next speaker, Ambassador of Sweden. May I request you, sir, to please come and address? So, yeah.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, I just wish to very briefly take the floor to express my support to all of you and for the conversation that you are going to have here, and express how important we believe that it is. First, let me add also, it's an emblematic day, and thank you. Thank you to the organizers for giving it a beautiful and fitting start. That was a very good beginning of something that I believe is a very important conversation. Your topic over these 2 days is one that lies very close to the heart of my government. So I'm very pleased that representing the Swedish government at this conference and is the Swedish ambassador at large for combating trafficking in persons, Mr. Per-Anders Sunesson, who's sitting right down here. And he will be speaking about the Swedish legislation during one of the sessions tomorrow. These are difficult days in international politics and for the world, and challenging times. But I do believe that the way that you are addressing this is the right way, and that is to address a global problem, that of sexual exploitation of women and girls, and start a serious and good conversation on how to combat it. We all agree on the importance of the problem and the priority to combat it. We all agree that the discussion is difficult and sometimes both uncomfortable and difficult. We also agree on its importance. So I find it very good and very important that so many voices will be heard during this conference. And on behalf of myself and of my government, I wish you all the best in the proceedings. With these short words, expressing my support. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Sandberg, for this very supportive statement. And also, above all, I would say, for the very strategic engagement and support of the Swedish government here in India, but also in New York, in Geneva, in Brussels, and that there's a lot to do. I want to highlight also the support of the French government and the French diplomacy in India, who is not represented today, but we're also supporting this Congress. I would like now to introduce you to a fantastic figure of the anti-trafficking movement in the SAARC region, Anuradha Koirala, who is the founder of Maiti, Nepal. Who was also recognized as CNN hero in 2010. And we received this year honorary medal from the Indian government. I can't remember the name. Padma Shri. Thank you very much, Anuradha.
Namaste, Excellency, Ambassador of Sweden, Swedish Ambassador for Combating Trafficking, distinguished guests from all over the world, and I would like to thank Apne Aap for organizing this program. And I would also like to from this forum, I would like to say, just now somebody said I got Padma Shri, but then we have hands together. I'm not alone in this region. Salma Ali, who is at the back, she is from Bangladesh. She has been working very hard. Dr. Nair is here, PM Nair, who has always been supportive to us. And I also like to thank him. And if Roma is here, Roma should be here. I don't know if she is not here. I don't know. It's Roma also, yeah? And first, I would like, since the conference is the last girl first, I would like to just say a few words about a child. There was a child who was trafficked when she was 7 years old to India. Then we rescued her when she was 13. After rescuing her back, she wanted to study. And at the same time, I want to relate. There is a prize in Sweden which is called the World's Children Prize. Yeah? And she was chosen as the jury member of the prize. So Poonam was the jury member for the Swedish World Children Prize, which is done by Queen herself, who is the chair. She wanted to study. We said, okay, you study. Now she's finished her school, she's finished her college, and now she is a drama therapist in the affected areas of Nepal. She does drama, she teaches drama to the local people against human trafficking. So I think she has also become the first girl. She is not the last girl, she is the first girl. Okay? Then I hope, I have many stories to share, but there is time constraint. And also I would like to share a story about children, how they are trafficked to India. But you know, the dimension and everything has been changed now. It is not only for sex purpose, now it's also for work, labor. But at the same time, I would like to share a story of a child, Bimala, who was 6 years old, was trafficked to India, was given hormone injections. She was made big. She was exploited nearly for 5 years. Then we rescued her. Bimla, when she came back to us also, 6 and 5 years, nearly 11, 12 years, she came back. She was huge, tall like this, but she was still a baby. She was still a baby because she was only 11 years old. So these things happen, and I think that is why we are all here today. And I don't just, my belief is that I just don't believe in, you know, very sorry to say, and I say sorry to all of you, but I do not believe on words, I believe on action. So let's get together. It's not only me. I believe that with this fight, all of us together, and we will definitely make this planet a child trafficking free planet. Thank you so much.